Clemson at Wake Forest. Wake Forest 7.5-point home dog here. Total 56. This game's at noon on ABC. By the way, Texas A&M Arkansas 7 Eastern in primetime on ESPN. Wake Forest home dog here. They escaped Liberty. Sam Hartman is back at quarterback, but there's some. And I'm having a hard time breaking this game down because there's some worrying signs with Wake Forest. Number one, they can't run the ball a lick. I don't know if Sam Hartman is fully healthy. But the offensive line, which is supposed to be a strength, hasn't necessarily been. And we know the defense isn't good. And so, but my biggest fear here is because of some of the offensive line struggles. We've seen Clemson in the past. If you go back to last year, when Sam Hartman, he's going to take the handoff, and the whole origin of their offense is he's going to fake the handoff, and it's a delayed mesh point, and he says, okay, let me pull it based on what the defense does, or I'm going to hand it off, or I'm going to take it. And Clemson in the past has just blown it up, and there's no time to read anything that's going on. There's no time to pull it and throw it, and everything just gets discombobulated. Now, if that doesn't happen, I think that Wake Forest can have some success throwing the ball against this Clemson secondary, and look, the Clemson gave up some more yards than I thought. The Georgia Tech Furman had some success moving the ball against them. And I still don't buy this Clemson offense. So, but it's the Wake Forest defense. Clemson has owned this series, by the way. Last time Wake Forest won outright, 2008, I think. That was probably CJ Spiller, Riley Skinner, maybe, for Wake Forest. So, yeah, I'm having a hard time breaking this one down. It's not a great matchup for Wake, but I don't know if I can trust this Clemson offense to lay over a touchdown. So it's tough for me. And then I'd say, okay, I'm still not sold on the Clemson offense, but it's still a Wake defense. Liberty put up, 36 last week with a backup to a guy who was replacing Malik Willis. So help me out here. What do you say?
I am having a hard time making a case for Wake, just like you, because the market is screaming Wake, right? A lot of people will just, take a stance on a game, and they will only give you a narrative that fills that team. I could sit here and tell you a billion things about Clemson, but I'm telling you that the market is screaming that Wake is going to cover this game and it's going to go under. And the problem where I get hung up stuck is the fact that this series has been within 20 points just one time since 2015, which was a 14-point win by Clemson in 2017. And, Wake is balanced in the run pass ratio, but they're 129th in rushing success rate. That mesh RPO is not going to work again. And they have a healthy amount of passing downs, and Clemson's 9th in pass coverage. Like you're just not going to be able to beat this defense. And Brad Lambert, let's go to the defensive side of the ball, because Brad Lambert's doing some really good work for Wake Forest since he came in. Former head coach at Charlotte, was at Purdue last year. He brings havoc with them everywhere, and that's where they are right now. They're 13th in coverage and they're 7th in havoc. And the issue is that they're grading out 70th in rushing success rate. What is Clemson's offense these days? Rushing. That's all it is. They make all their money on the ground. DJ Uiagalelei, his turnover-worthy play rate is down. His drops are on pace from last year. He's only been pressured 15 times this season, and that's not what Wake Forest does. And this is not going to come down to that. This is going to come down to Clemson running the ball. DJU is getting like 8 to 10 designed carries per game. And Wake is not going to be able to do anything about that because they're a much better pass defense than they are a rush defense. So I understand the market is screaming Wake, but I am just not seeing it. The defensive numbers say that Wake cannot handle Clemson's run game, and I don't believe that Wake can throw over that Clemson defense. So I'm staying away. I do want the under in this, but I just can't buy Wake at 7, even at 7.5. I'm not even tempted then. Maybe something live. I don't know. Not me.
Yeah, this is a watch and see to learn a little bit more. Maybe Wake's been holding some things back. And I do love Lambert. I thought we were going to see improvements from the defense this year. Some of the numbers look good, but you got to remember they played VMI, Vandy, and Liberty. So, take them with a grain of salt. Again, this is why this week's so important. You get that fourth data point, and a lot of times it's against a high level competition for some of these Power 5 teams. So as of now, it is a pass for me because I am worried about that varying tempo RPO offense that relies on the delayed mesh point. It's going to come down to that Wake Forest offensive line, which has a lot of experience. It's supposed to be one of the strengths of their team, but it hasn't really translated so far this year. And they're going up against a ferocious defensive line that on paper is as good as any when it comes to potentially blowing all of that up. So yeah, I don't hate the under. If I had to bet it right now, I would take the under because of if I had to project how this goes, maybe a first half under, because I imagine that Clemson's defense will be ready for the Wake offense. They're going to shut it down. Clemson, I think that they're going to come out a little conservative, rely on the run. Clock will be moving. I think they'll have success moving the ball on the ground too, move the clock. And then if Wake gets far behind, you're going to see them just start chucking. If Wake gets ahead, it'll force Clemson to start chucking. So I think that this will start out a little slower. So I think maybe a first half under is a look there.
Yeah, I don't see the explosiveness out of the passing game from Clemson, and I don't see them beating that defensive back seven. Wake Forest beating that defensive back seven. Great as always. So we'll see. The under definitely is a play for me. By the way, I project the under at 60. Project the under at below the 55.5 right now. So I do think now is the time to buy.
Yeah, I might go first half under. I might talk myself into it. And you see these Wake games a lot of times just blow up late.